When you say they don't understand the reimbursement contracts, what do you mean?
Well, reimbursement contracts, ultimately is a bit like handcuffs where your fees are being discounted. You sign on the dotted line, they'll send you a patient, and your fees are cut and discounted. And what most practices don't understand is that now they've taken the marketing budget off the table by committing to these contracts. Let's say I'll go to a major meeting. I don't do a lot of podium speaking, but almost always when I do get on the podium, I ask, how much do people spend on marketing? Because I'm curious. And they hold their hand up, and a significant part of the audience will say nothing. They spend nothing.
But they sometimes say it like it's a badge of honor.
Right, like I spend nothing. I spend nothing. And the reality is that those practices probably they're actually spending 20 to 40%. And they go, how is that possible? I said, well, are you taking insurance contracts? I said, well, yeah. And I said, well, how much are you writing off?
Interesting.
So let's say $1 million practice is writing off $250,000, $300,000 of its fees. Well, guess what? That's their marketing. But they don't get that unless it's pointed out to them. And then I say, well, what if you only had to spend $150,000 in marketing to get the same $1 million at a better margin? And then suddenly the light bulb goes off. And a few people, that's really the epiphany for them, where it's like, okay, now we need to address marketing and sales. And by the way, so here's kind of what happens when a practice that's sort of stuck in insurance and they decide to get better at selling. Not changing anything else. Don't change marketing. Don't do anything different. Don't change the referral patterns. It doesn't matter if it's specialist or generalist. They fix selling in the practice, and they'll have anywhere from a 10 to up to a 30% increase in profit just by fixing sales.
Good.
And that's that. In fact, the doctor that was just on the show recently here in California, I was surprised as an HMO practice that he's bumped his sales up 30% just by adapting our sales system to HMO process, which is never designed for. Now, practices that are equipped to do complex procedures. So let's say you're a dentist, so you're focusing on cosmetics or implants, whatever your niche is. If you've done okay at sales at that, which is probably for most dentists okay, they think it's fantastic. The same sales training we did for the HMO guy, that will bump their cases up 25 to 50%, higher average transaction size. So if they were stuck at, say, selling cases at $20,000, that's all they could get acceptance on. On average, we can get that up to $30,000 or $40,000. So it's a big deal. And then those practices that have never been good at sales, you can see anywhere from 100 to 500% increase in the transaction size just by fixing sales.
There's a guy Kawasaki, and he says, sales fixes everything.
Right.
Do you think that's an overstatement? Or is that really how you...
It's the truth. It's the truth. As long as you're not about to go bankrupt. And the thing is, we do get phone calls from doctors that they're underwater. So the catch here is, and this goes back to the insurance thing, the longer you sit around with the contracts, the harder it is to get out of it. And you have to devote energy and resources, and particularly money, to market your way away from it. And if you're overcommitted financially, you've got too much leverage, or your lifestyle's too crazy, it can be difficult to get out of there. So that's what I always tell doctors. If you're really hurting from the insurance contracts, we got to start working on the fee-for-service marketing and sales now, before it really is too late.